Thank you. Just a couple of things that I wanted to, well, elected to say. First, there is another direct descendant of Tayota Duta here in the back. Raise your hand there, or stand, there he is. And also present today is a direct descendant of Pastor Williamson, Thomas Williamson, who was one of the missionaries to the Dakota people at the time of the U.S.-Dakota War. That's Jeff Williamson. Jeff, where are you? You're out there somewhere. Anyway, there he is. And then, just to very briefly, I'll take about 1 minute with this, since Fern mentioned, kind of half, but maybe not quite half, humorously, that Dakota people are not welcome in Minnesota. Well, certainly that's not true today, but on the books in Washington, D.C. today, still in statute, is the Indian Removal Act of 1863 that says that the Dakota people cannot come back to Minnesota. I mean, it's still on the books. In 2009, I proposed a resolution that passed the Minnesota House, passed the Minnesota Senate, was signed by Governor Pawlenty, asking the United States Congress to repeal the Indian Removal Act of 1863. They have not yet acted on that. It still sits there. And there are complicated reasons why. And I'm not going to get into many details other than to say that one of them dealt with basically doing away with the whole law, also closes down a couple of reservations. And so the current approach isn't to repeal the whole law, but simply to include a sentence in there somewhere that says that Dakota people are welcome to come back to Minnesota. Now, obviously, it's symbolic. We don't have guards at the Dakota border keeping them back. But I think it's important that if we have something egregious in statute in this land of the free, that we should correct it. And so I'm hoping in this next legislative session we can find a way to remedy that situation once more. So, thanks.
I just want to thank everybody again for coming out, and of course thank everybody for taking the time to observe a huge part of our history here, not only in Hutchinson and in Minnesota, but really that affected the entire state. And one thing, I probably not all going to be able to see it, but in closing, I of course work at the museum, and I'm lucky that I get to handle and see lots of unique pieces, artifacts from our collection that not everybody else always gets to handle and see. Well, at least handle. But one particular piece, we put together a display, and we welcome y'all to take time to come over to the museum and take a look around. There's a huge section of our gallery that's devoted entirely to the citizens of McLeod County who were here before white settlement. And that's something that's been very important in the last couple of years, to really focus on, that foundation that we have all built upon. And the piece that I have here, which you'll get to see closer up if you come to the display, is a large beaded pincushion. It's very, very beautiful. And the history that comes along with this piece is that it was given to a settler in McLeod County as a gift from Chief Little Crow. And there was lots of stories and relationships that we saw between the Dakota, between Little Crow, and a lot of the local settlers. So we know that prior to 1862, there was a really good foundation there of friendship and peace. And this piece, I think, gives us all hope that that of course, will be the case going forward. So again, I thank you all for coming. I hope you take time to learn more about your own history. Just as Fern said, your genealogy, your history, that's very important. Even if we're not all lucky enough to be a descendant of a chief. But it's important, it's who we are. And so I hope you take the time to do that, and welcome you to come to the museum, check out some of these special pieces we've laid out. Of course, there's more photos like we have here. And now we also, Steve Cook has set up a nice little buffet over there for us to have a little snack. And then, of course, then you'll have time if you have questions for any of us. I'm sure we'd be welcome to answer those. So thank you all for coming, and I want to give another round of applause to Fern, Steve, and Boone. Thank you.